All right, ready to dive into some serious DeFi today.
Let's do it.
We're tackling Lido and liquid staking, and we've got their white paper right here ready to break down. Everyone wants their Ethereum to work harder, bring in that passive income.
Absolutely. Everyone's looking for that edge in the crypto space.
So Lido's making some big promises in this white paper, claiming they've got the solution. But what's the core idea? What are they really offering?
Okay, imagine this. You want to earn staking rewards on your Ethereum, right? But you don't want to lock it away for years and years.
Yeah, that's the classic staking dilemma. It's so inflexible.
Exactly. And that's the problem Lido's trying to solve. They want to make staking less all or nothing, give people more options.
Okay, so it's all about flexibility. I like it. But how do they actually pull this off? The white paper mentions something called stETH. What's the deal with that?
So think of stETH like a tokenized version of your staked Ethereum. You deposit your ETH into Lido, and in return, boom, you get stETH. This stETH represents your initial stake plus any rewards you earn over time.
Okay, that makes sense, but how's that different from just, staking your ETH normally?
The key difference here is that unlike regular staked ETH, you can actually use stETH. It's liquid.
Hold on. So you're saying I can earn staking rewards and still use my crypto in DeFi apps at the same time? That sounds almost too good to be true. I mean, there had to be some downsides, right?
Well, you know what they say. There are always trade-offs in DeFi. The value of stETH isn't static. It can fluctuate, kind of like, how do I put this? Imagine a constantly rebalancing index fund, but for staked ETH.
Okay, I'm starting to see where you're going with this.
So the total amount of ETH staked in Lido, the rewards being generated, even potential penalties, those can all impact the price of stETH.
Penalties. All right, now you got my attention. Let's talk about those risks. What kind of penalties are we talking about here?
Right. So one risk mentioned in the white paper is slashing. Basically, if a validator in the Lido network, misbehaves or doesn't do its job properly, there can be penalties.
And those penalties, they would end up affecting the value of my stETH.
Exactly. It all trickles down. But to address that, Lido emphasizes its decentralized structure and has an insurance fund in place to mitigate those risks.
They make a big deal about being a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. Why is that so important for someone who might be considering Lido?
It boils down to trust and transparency. See, with Lido, you don't have one single entity calling the shots like a traditional bank. Decisions, those are made collectively by the LDO token holders.
So no shadowy figures pulling strings behind the scenes. That's always reassuring in the crypto world. But what about other risks? I'm seeing the white paper mention smart contracts, oracles. How do those factor into all of this? Smart contracts and oracles. Those are two terms you hear everywhere in DeFi.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
But for someone who might not be super technical, what are we talking about here? What are the potential risks with those?
You're right. Those are essential to understand. So smart contracts, right. Those are the pieces of code, the building blocks that make DeFi apps like Lido actually work. But just like any other code, they can have vulnerabilities.
Right, because code isn't perfect and coders aren't perfect.
Exactly. And if there's a bug, some flaw in Lido's smart contracts, well, hackers could exploit that, and that puts your funds at risk.
Okay, that's always a concern in the back of your mind with DeFi, for sure. And what about these oracles? How do they play into all of this?
Think of oracles like data feeds. They bring information from the outside world into the blockchain, into these smart contracts.
Okay, so they're the bridge between the real world and this decentralized world.
Exactly. They're the messengers, basically. And Lido needs this outside information. For example, it needs to know the current price of ETH to calculate those stETH rewards we were talking about.
Makes sense.
But the thing is, if an oracle gets compromised somehow, if it provides bad data, inaccurate or even manipulated data, it throws off the whole system.
Wow, so it could give me the wrong rewards.
Oh,
Or even cause me to lose money.
it could, leading to inaccurate rewards, yeah, or even losses. It's a risk.
So there's this element of trust, even with a decentralized system like Lido. You're trusting the smart contracts are solid and these oracles are playing it straight.
It's a trustless system, but you still have to place your trust somewhere, right?
That's true. Okay, so let's get into the actual process of staking with Lido. The white paper mentions these node operators. What's their role in all this?
Right, node operators. They're crucial, but you can kind of think of them like the backstage crew, They're the ones running the show, but behind the scenes.
Okay, keeping things running smoothly.
Yeah. They're responsible for the validator software and all the hardware. It's technical stuff, making sure the Ethereum network is secure and everything's running.
So Lido's relying on them, but do I need to worry about them as a user?
Not really. Lido's got a pretty tough selection process. They vet these operators, make sure they're trustworthy, reliable. You don't have to do that yourself, thankfully.
Okay, so that's good to know. It's like choosing a good financial advisor, right?
Right.
I want someone who knows what they're doing with my money.
Hmm.
But in this case, it's my Ethereum.
Exactly. And these node operators, instead of managing traditional assets, they're managing this whole decentralized staking pool. It's a new paradigm.
It is. It's pretty cool when you think about it. So let's talk about why all of this matters for the average person holding ETH. Let's say I'm interested in staking, but I've heard it's expensive, right?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest hurdles with traditional staking, that high entry cost. You need a minimum of 32 ETH to run your own validator node. That's a lot of money for most people.
It is, yeah. Definitely not pocket change.
Right. So Lido solves this problem because they're pooling resources from lots of users.
It's like we're all pitching in together.
Exactly. Like a group investment, but for staking. So you combine your ETH with others, you meet those minimum requirements, and you get to share in the rewards.
Ah, that's smart. So even if I don't have a ton of ETH, I can still get involved.
Yep.
You got it. And because you're receiving stETH in return, you still have that liquidity. You're not stuck. It's a win-win.
Mm-hmm.
For those who want to stake but don't want to lock up a ton of ETH.
So with Lido, it sounds like I can get all the benefits of staking, but without the hassle of running my own node or having my ETH locked up for who knows how long. Pretty good deal, right? But I feel like there's a bigger picture here. The white paper kind of hints at it.
Oh, absolutely. Lido's vision, it goes way beyond just like simplifying staking on Ethereum. They're thinking bigger. They see themselves as leading a movement, towards liquid staking solutions, but across multiple blockchain networks.
Whoa, hold on. So they want to be the platform for liquid staking no matter what blockchain you're on. That's a bold goal. It is. But they're already branching out. They've started working with other proof of stake chains, the tech they've built, the governance model with the whole DAO thing. It's all designed to adapt and scale.
Okay, now that's exciting. It's like they're building a bridge so users can easily stake and participate in DeFi, but across a ton of different blockchains. That's huge. I mean,
Right.
and what does that even mean for the future of staking if they pull this off?
Well, think about it. If Lido's vision becomes reality, we could be looking at a future where staked assets, they're not just sitting there locked up anymore. They become a dynamic part of the DeFi ecosystem across all sorts of different chains.
Wow. Okay, so more liquidity, more innovation.
Exactly. And a truly interconnected blockchain world. It's a pretty exciting vision.
It really is. All right, so let's bring it back down to earth for a second. Let's say I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, okay, Lido sounds interesting. Maybe I'll check it out. What's the one key takeaway you want to leave our listeners with today?
That's a good question. I think the biggest takeaway here is that Lido, it's not just another DeFi protocol. It's representing a potential paradigm shift. How we think about participating in these proof of stake blockchains. It's making staking more accessible, more flexible, and hey, maybe even more rewarding. But
There's always a but.
there is. It's DeFi, right? There are always risks. Just like with anything else, you got to do your research, you got to understand the technology, and be aware of the risks before jumping in.
Couldn't agree more. Knowledge is power, folks. We've given you the highlights from Lido's white paper, but there's a whole world of information out there. Do your own research and stay informed. And on that note, we'll leave you with one final thought to ponder. The white paper, it really hammers home how important Ethereum 2.0 is to Lido's success. But what if Ethereum 2.0, what if it doesn't live up to the hype? Or what if something crazy happens, something totally unexpected, and the whole crypto landscape changes? Could Lido adapt? Would they thrive? Or would they get left behind? It's something to think about as you navigate the always exciting, always evolving world of blockchain technology. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into Lido and the world of liquid staking. We hope you found it insightful. Until next time, keep learning, keep asking those questions, and keep exploring the exciting world of DeFi.